share something I've experienced recently. We all have our own capacity. We all have a limited number of resources that allow us to do something that we want to do every day. We have these personal capacities and these limits. I want to talk about how that applies to Azure, right? Azure has the same principle behind it. It has its resources, it has its limits, it has its capacity. Recently, I was at an engagement where we ran into a very interesting story, a rather interesting obstacle we needed to overcome. We were migrating from an on-premise APS environment, and we wanted to take those SQL data warehouses and move them to SQL data warehouse. Well, when we started uncovering things, peeling back that onion, shall we say, we found that there were certain things that we needed to do. The first thing we needed to understand is that there were no cross-database queries with SQL Data Warehouse. Now, this isn't about SQL Data Warehouse technologies per se, but what it is about is knowing our capacities and resources. Also, we ran into another interesting scenario in which we hit the capacity of 10,000 tables. This client had more than 10,000 tables within the SQL Data Warehouse. They weren't doing anything wrong. They were just using the appliance that they had purchased to its fullest capacity, which is why I wanted to share this with you. Understanding the capacities of Azure and the Azure resources available to us is important. Now, are we going to memorize every one of these? No, it's not going to be possible to memorize every one of these. Some people may be able to. I've got some friends that seem to have that photographic memory, but for folks like myself, understanding where to find this is really important, and understanding what we need to look up and when we need to look that up. So over here, what I've done is I just wanted to show really quick. It's really easy to find. If you do a Google, a Bing, or some sort of search of that nature, and you search on Azure capacity limits, one of the top searches you're going to return is Azure subscription limits and quotas. So let's click on that real quick. So you can see here that on the screen, Azure subscription and service limits, quotas, and constraints shows up. The one thing I really appreciate about Azure and what Microsoft has done is the amount of documentation they've put together for us. If we just scroll down here real slowly, you can see that there's a lot of information here for us. If I click on service-specific limits, this is great here. This is all the services that Azure provides us and some of the resource limits within it, or which each resource can provide us. So let's just click on SQL Data Warehouse real quick, and you can see here it takes us to another link, and we can click further here to find our SQL Data Warehouse capacity limits. So you can see with a few clicks and drilling in, you can easily determine what resources or limits our Azure subscription can provide us. Hope you found this enjoyable and insightful. I really wanted to share this with you because I found it really important that there is an easy way to find our capacities and our limits within our Azure subscription. This is an Azure Everyday Video. Daniel Taylor, signing off.